You thought this was over. Oh, ye of little faith. Order not giving an inch in that game, Juves.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a really stable game from Order, and it's what I talked about pre-show, how I said, I think Order match up very well against Legacy. At least in playoffs form, I haven't seen Only really lose a jungle matchup. Swiper hasn't really been, outclassed in a top lane matchup. Hayri's won every single mid lane matchup, and it's really just been a product of trying to stabilize the bot lane. And getting their hands on Caitlyn, getting Rare 7 on Caitlyn is a very big kind of factor in being able to stabilize. But then we saw why Ayla was, voted the MVP, right? The player's kind of choice. Because he set up a lot of big team fights, a lot of really big engages, and two specific times he caught Halo out and really blew the game open. Now, just before I pass over to Spawn, I do want to say, I think we're going to see Tally for game 3. I think it's a little bit unfair to Halo in the sense that he's going to get a little bit of the faker treatment where everyone plays poorly around him and then it looks like Closer is the better option or Tally. So I don't think Halo played poorly by any means, but I think Tally brings something to this Legacy roster that they need and that they don't necessarily get with Halo.
Yeah, I think they got two really cold-blooded killers on their team when they play with Tally and Raze in their starting lineup. And I think that's why they're the most dangerous when they play those two players, because I can just tell you, from experience working with Tally, that this isn't a guy that gets rattled very easy. He's very stable at all stages of the game. And I actually think that when they brought Tally in initially, they complimented his communication and how he leads on Summoner's Rift more than even his gameplay. And I think that leads to kind of your point, Jules, about the proactivity when Halo's playing versus when Tally's playing, and the fact that they do look like more of a coordinated unit when Tally is there to lead them through that. Now, in saying that, I do think that this game, regardless of mid laner, kind of what Juves is saying, would have been pretty similar in outcome, because this is one of those games where they actually played the exact same compositions. If you look at what the top laners are doing, they're big disruptive force. Sion does it through being very tanky. Aatrox does it by having kill threat. But then it's control mage versus control mage. Long range AD carry versus long range AD carry, right? So they're very similar comps. And I just haven't seen Order in a very long time lose 5v5 team fights when people have tried to match their comps. That's why I was so complimentary of Legacy's Game 1 comp, because I actually thought it was a counter comp to what Order wanted to do. Order wants to hard engage, they want to get the action started. Legacy's comp just wanted to hit and run, blow someone else up and get out of there. So I would expect Legacy to actually learn from this, maybe play a little bit more 1-3-1 with a Twist of Fate or a Galio, or maybe a little bit more 1-4 where they side lane the Aatrox a little bit longer, or just go back to the Game 1 comp, because I don't think anything was banned away there. I think they could have got the exact same thing they wanted in a second back-to-back game. And we'll see where the draft adapts from here, because I really do think this series so far has been quite intriguing in the draft. Legacy leaving up Caitlyn in back-to-back games is a little bit eye-opening to me, because I agree that Raze is outclassing Rare, but if you give him the 10 out of 10 AD carry, you can't really expect him to carry every single game.
Sorry.
Please, Juice. Please.
No, I just wanted to say, we Legacy looked their best being proactive. And so you talk about Order not losing a team fight, yes, but being proactive doesn't mean you have to team fight, right? Where Legacy look really good is when Tally is on those roam mid laners, something like the Galio. Ziggs is kind of like a roam champ too, right? In the sense that he goes, halfway up the river, just drops a Mega Inferno bomb in bot lane and he's influenced the play. And so these little differences that Tally gives you, I think is what Legacy have become accustomed to. And the draft that they played last game, it just didn't look comfortable. It didn't look like a really good setup. And for me, they lost that the game at the first Dragon team fight, where Order just set up really well, and Legacy just looked outclassed when setting up for that neutral objective.
We've seen Order throughout the best of fives. Would you say it's fair that they're pretty good at adapting over a best of five? Order are a good best of five team, would you say, Spawn?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. In fact, I think that anyone with experience is always going to be better in a long series. So that goes for people like Swiper, Only. I think Rare's had now, 4 really good playoff runs across his career as well. And then on the flip side, I would expect Babip and Tally and Raze to get better as this series goes on as well. That's what class players do. The best players in the business win game 5s. That's why I always respected Jews. That's why I thought Spooks was a really clutch jungler as well, because they just have moments in best of 5 series where you can actually see that they just make that one play that will ultimately win you the game. And I think that a couple of players on the Summoner's Rift right now actually have that power. You think back to Razor's first ever best of 5 with the Chiefs Esports Club and how instrumental he was to that victory. And, you know, there's countless people across Summoner's Rift that have had kind of those key times to shine. So I think that Order, all in all, does have some good experience. They've got Swiper, the most experienced player in the league in terms of playing best of series, and hopefully that does lead them in good stead as this series progresses.
And Juves, do you think that Legacy are in a situation where they can adapt that quickly? Like, obviously, they've got a lot of experienced players on there, but they're very used to being dominant. They're very used to being on top, and there hasn't been too many upsets for them over the course of the year. Can they adapt over a course of a best of 5 to be able to come out on top?
Look, I think that you know, losing that first game isn't really going to do much to Legacy, right? They've got too many veterans in that roster as well as coaching staff to let that affect them. You know, it's very easy. If you win the first game, lose the second, it is quite easy to reset and just get on with the next one, right? You know, and I'm not sure who we're going to see. If it is Tally, if it is Halo, it might be Halo
Tally
again. But what'd you say? Sorry.
It's Tally.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, like Tally, you know, it's also very easy to say, okay, we tried Halo, we tried a different style. Let's just go back to what we know that works, right? Because it's important to remember they won Split 1 with the Tally play style, right? So ultimately, you know, maybe that was just an experiment game. And they said, okay, we need to go back to what we're comfortable with. So I think they can just palm it off as a test.
All right, well, we are very excited to get into game number 3. But before we do, we need to announce some more winners of the Neosurf Spin to Win competition. This is, of course, the competition where you can enter a haiku by just heading to the Discord, UTOPL Discord, and there is a channel there, the Neosurf Spin to Win channel. Write us a haiku, OPL or League of Legends themed haiku, and we will pick our favorites. You will get read on air. We'll spin the Spin to Win Neosurf wheel, give you a prize. Oh my goodness, we've gotten so close to a $500 Neosurf voucher a couple of times. Terrifyingly close if you're Neosurf, but hey, they offered it, so we got to give it away. All right, Spawn, I believe you have the next round of haikus.
Absolutely. The next 3 haikus. The first one is going to come from Gaslight. And I guess I should put this on this screen so it actually looks like I'm reading from the screen. Oh, have a look at this. This is modern day production. Thresh, the Chain Warden. Taking names and taking souls, landing all the hooks.
I mean, hell, that could be a champion descriptor on the website. It's fantastic.
Certainly could be. Very emotive with the language, Nick.
Juves, does that deserve a spin?
Yeah, spin it. I didn't do the calculations. I didn't run the numbers, but hey, I'll trust him.
Does it rhyme? That's the most important part.
No, it doesn't rhyme.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Wait, does it rhyme?
There you go.
No.
No, it doesn't. All right. We're spinning up. Oh, nah plushie.
Nah plushies are cool.
That's a legit prize. I mean, the rest of this is trash except for this part, but nah plushie.
No, nah plushie is a good win. I would be happy with that. That's a good win. That's a dub.
Cuddle in bed.
How many of those do we actually have to give away? Let me just double check, because that could be it's the only one. Exclusive nah plushie.
Limited edition nah plushie.
Can we technically say that? Was it a limited edition plushie? No,
absolutely not. It's limited edition to us because we only have one, but to everyone else, there's probably lots available.
I mean, if you have the nah plushie, you could rub it against your cheek and then like limited edition Nick Boy sent.
Interesting. Can I tell you a little inside baseball fact?
Yes.
That when the producers were coming up with the competitions for this show, one of the prizes was win a date with Nick Boy.
Really?
And I was on a conference call with them, and that comes up on the sheet, and I just look at it, I'm like, can I bring my kids? Like, what in what kind of reasonable world is like win a date with Nick Boy? Anything that people want to win, but
it's also like a sketchy time to have a date with a random that could have like COVID or something.
I know it was just a real disaster. So be thankful you got a nah plushie and not a Nick Boy plushie.
Not a date with Nick Boy.
If you know what I'm saying. Haiku number 2.
Haiku number 2. This one from Original Name. I like that. That's an original name.
That's good.
Nick Boy! It has an exclamation mark. Learn to spin. You need to hold it upright. Who let you spin? It?
Okay, that's legit. That's very funny. Let me explain something to you.
Spin it and then explain because it's...
Okay, should I spin it and explain?
Yeah. It'll take time. Explain.
Mystery champion. Let me explain something to you. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm not actually in the sky right now. That I am sitting in front of a green screen. If I just rip this bad boy down, the production team's probably going to freak out. Oh my god, there's a room behind me. The green screen is cramped incredibly close to my back. And that if the initial thing of like bringing the wheel, it was like they went, oh, just hold it, you'll be fine, just hold it. So I was trying to angle it while at the same time not showing you the entire production rundown in the reflection of the thing. Right now you can see my YouTube subscription sitting over here on the second monitor. So let me tell you, there's a lot more complicated shit going on right now than just spinning the goddamn wheel, okay? So how about you take your mystery champion, be happy with it.
I think it's terrible that you've ruined the viewer experience, though, because legitimately they did think we were flying.
Yeah, 100%.
If anything gets me fired from this job, it's probably that.
No, fake stream, fake cast. What do I believe in now? Says I'm Callie.
See?
And I agree.
I agree too. But just so you know, me and Jake are actually flying. This is no green screen.
Correct. The Melburnians are in the sky.
Yeah. We actually can't land in Melbourne for another 2 weeks, so we're just doing loops.
We're doing laps.
All right, let's get the third winner, please.
I don't know who this is from. The dude 200_thesis, I think is the person.
Like
the all-seeing Lord. Timo, on duty. He's roared. Our Lord and Savior.
Legit. Fantastic. Oh, God, I hope you get something good. There's a Timo hat on here, I think. Let's see.
Let's get the hat.
Yeah, or the $500, and we can split it.
How many hats could you buy with that?
This one's going for 8.
Yeah, I feel like doing drum rolls.
Oh.
Oh,
That is incredible.
It is actually scripted. It is actually scripted.
This is the most scripted segment
No,
ever.
it is rigged. It is legitimately rigged.
This is ridiculous. Oh, fantastic. Come on. What other region is going to give you that? No one. That's who. Because no one buys a $10 chocolate wheel and gives it to me to sit on soft plush carpet so that it's not even. That's why you watch the OPL. The other reason you watch the OPL is, of course, that it is grand final night. We've got two banger teams going up against each other in a banger series, just banging each other left, right, center to see who.
That's a lot of banging, dude.
Look,
Too much banging.
I'll tell you what, it's 6:59.
We got some banger casters as well, though.
We do have some banger casters. These handlebar mustaches, it'll get you banged all night. All right, it's time to get into game number 3. It's Order versus Legacy. Is it getting a little loose because we've been on air
It is too. It's loosey-goosey.
11 hours so far? Let's find out as we jump into the Maccas Champ Select.
Yes, Rusty, I know what you're thinking. It's, the emotion's been ruined. It's getting a little bit loose up here. It's getting a little bit rowdy.
I've never heard the word bang that many times in my entire life. And not in an OPL Grand Final did I think that would be the day that I hear the word bang 17 times back to back with completely different contexts every single time.
Maybe we just need to go to the LCS, Rusty, maybe we need to go to the LCS, cast bang over there, and it just makes it a little bit easier for us to utilize in our sentences. But regardless, here we go. Game number 3. We're tied at 1-1. As Legacy for the third game in a row will go for that red side, and they will bring back Tally into the fold of things.
Yeah, Tally back, keeping red side. I mean, no one really should be surprised given what we're seeing right now. Order, once again, are going to continue with that same draft. Our question was going to be raised, what do Legacy do back in response? Well, they're not going to prioritize the Azir this time because Tally's back in. They're going to go for the Renekton. They're going to go for the Nidalee. We're getting effectively a rinse and repeat of game number 1 all over again. One major adaptation, of course, is that we're going to go for the Lilia this time. So the same amount of legs in every single game so far for Only, but a completely different champion from that first game with his Hecarim to the second and third games now.
And it seemed to be almost inevitable that this would happen at some point during this series. They are the most dominant junglers for a reason right now. Their speed of clearing, their damage output, their ability just to do so much on the map at once and have a very outright carry potential built into their kit, not to sort of bank their hopes and dreams on the rest of their team as a result. Going to be interesting to see the priority continue to go the way here for Caitlyn. We saw it obviously be utilised to good effect when Raze played Order last time. But Order are going to say, well, if you give it up to us, then why wouldn't we take it?
So what they've gone for here, Legacy, is they've gone for an early Morgana denial from the Kate Morg. Big fan of it. I do worry, however, that in response you would expect to see an Ashe banned. I'm personally preferential to the Ashe Morgana bot lane as a response to Caitlyn and Nautilus. I do think that's a winning lane for Legacy. So just awaiting where Order will choose to go here. You can see the Lucian also going to be banned as well by Legacy. Hayri, as we mentioned, pretty much every time in draft has his own unique champions, but playing a physical damage dealer like Lucian in mid enables the Lilia to be far more powerful.
Yep.
So they take that one away and limit the options that Hayri has. However, give him a matchup where he'll pick Aurelia, he'll pick Aurelia.
Certainly will, and I'm glad you bring that up because 10-16 has definitely brought Lucian back into the fold of things, not only as a bot laner, but definitely around the map as a whole between mid and top, and we've seen them being utilised to good effect on this patch over in China, but yet to see it here. As we will see the Jhin now being a response here for Raze. We had the hover on the Vayne, but I think there was no world in which that happened anytime soon.
Rare, of course, going to be hovering his Xayah and Rakan, whatever the reason may be, whether it's a shout out to his old support as well coming into this one. They are a powerhouse duo that we've seen from Order in the past. Definitely not something that we'll see from them in this game today. Instead, we're going to go for the Maokai. We picked a tanky frontline member to complement that of Ayla already. Now what we need from Hayri is some damage. It can be in the form of split pushing. It can be an Azir again that stands in front of the Caitlyn. Compositionally, he just needs to have scaling damage, and I think the Order composition then is perfectly fine.
Yep, you're looking at some AD damage coming on through, and it will be the Azir again. It's 100% on this Azir so far between both these mid laners. They want to showcase what they can do with it. They want to have that scaling opportunity, and they want to have the play-making potential of the Azir and the Orianna. Seem to be the go-tos here for Harry, but as you say, what is the response from Tally? No comment.
He doesn't have the... Yeah, so this is interesting. So Galio would probably lose mid lane to the Azir a lot. Just, you know, Azir constantly having push, having threat. This is a notoriously good lane for Kassadin, right? You can't really cop any damage from the Azir, and once you hit level 6, your all-in threat is immediately available. You have kill threat from that point. Tally, however, is going to be the one playing this Kassadin. Where normally when you look at Tally and you say, how does he play League of Legends with Legacy, and where do Legacy look their best? You would usually say, Skimmy, that he is going to negate Hayri's existence, right? He is just going to exist to be for the rest of the team, roaming, team fighting, play that selfless style of League of Legends. This time around, however, we put the game on a clock. So 1 out of 16, get your clocks ready, because Kassadin is coming in hot against the Azir.
This is super exciting for me. The fact that Tally once again shows that he is not just a facilitator, he is not just a support mid laner here to buff up the rest of his team. No, he wants to carry. He did it on the Ziggs before, and he wants to bring some scaling punishment on the Kassadin. A first for him, not a first for the team. Very exciting to see how game number 3 pans out here, Rusty. What are some areas of the map that you'd be looking to try and unlock first of all? Is it just the continuation of bot lane once again?
Yeah, I think that, like, you know, Jhin Morgana is going to have a pretty good run of it down there in the bottom lane 2v2. Mid lane being a Kassadin really does change the way that League of Legends is played through the early stages of this one. So you look at a Kassadin, immediately then what you should be doing is looking at who the jungler is for this Kassadin and asking what they can get done on Summoner's Rift. We've got a Nidalee versus a Lilia, and Nidalee clears pretty match speeds, honestly, against the Lilia. Early, they both clear AoE well, but not incredibly fast. So if those timings are matched and you can keep Kassadin in an isolated situation, then things are going well for Legacy to be able to empower their side lanes of the map, of the Renekton into the Maokai and the Jhin Morgana into the Caitlyn. That's probably the biggest thing here for Legacy that they'll be looking at. We're on the side of Order. You want to be able to control your bottom lane, get the wave manipulation going your way, push in, threaten some turrets, maybe even path from top to bottom side of the map potentially. Depending on how Lilia wants to play this one, however, they will usually start Raptors in red.
Let's see, Rusty. Let's see what things look like as we jump into game number 3. Will we get ourselves a full best-of-5 series? We've yet to have one all playoffs this time around. But tying things up like this does mean that this series is all to play for, and this next game could be crucial as it will put you on match point.
Looking at the runes that we've got here as well, Skimmy, it's going to be a Hail of Blades for the Azir in mid lane. A couple of other common options are usually Lethal Tempo. You could consider the Comet, depending on how you wanted to play your lane out. But whenever I see a Hail of Blades, I think to myself, immediately wants to be strong, right? Lethal Tempo is strong all game. Hail of Blades is level 1. If you step up at all, I'm just going to smack you in the face 3 times and I'm going to win that trade. And that's a pretty big component of being able to control this Kassadin, especially when they go for fleet footwork, right? He's going to have to step up and melee a minion. That's your opportunity to strike. 3 Hail of Blades procs. You'll be in pretty good stead in that laning phase.
Certainly is. Gives you that instant burst of power to find advantages in those short, sharp bursts. Worth noting, much as we touch on this being the first time Tally has played the Kassadin, it'll be the first time Raze has actually played the Jhin all year long as well. In a meta that has been dominated now by range from afar, he's stuck to the likes of Senna and Ashe when available. He'll get to show us what he can do on this pick as well. Very different to the other champions, obviously, in his capacity to only have 4 shots loaded at once. Be excited to see how he performs here today.
Swiper playing very passively on the top side of the map, and that is because Only and Hayri are making their invades towards the bottom side blue buff. Babip, currently level 3, is going to be making his way to the enemy blue. The question remains on if Only will run his way straight over there to contest that one. The way that he's pathing, it does look like a resounding yes. In saying that, is a level advantage to Babip. So if he face checks that one, then Italy does actually win. And top lane currently seems like it has the priority available as Swiper starting to run low on mana. So Only seems like instead of contesting the blue buff, he's going to cross to the other side of the map and take away what camps he can in the form of the Wolves.
Might see those junglers butt heads right now as trade continues now in the top half of this map. Swiper getting bullied. Swiper continues looking for those passive procs as the spells continue. He flashes away. He's bought enough time for these junglers now to get into this action. We're looking at a very early first blood. Only flashing back into the lane. They're going to flash the match. Spear goes sideways. It does not connect, but Tapoon, he's looking for the double kill. They'll find it. Top lane exposed in favor of Legacy.
And a double kill. Both members of Legacy able to pick up a kill on their respective opponents here. Massive for the side of Legacy. Renekton has the kill, has the CS advantage. Minions being missed under that turret. And the Nidalee, we spoke about it, level advantage, experience lead. Catches Only in this weird yakety sack. You'd have to watch a replay of just a mini-map to really see and appreciate what happened there. But corrals the Lily at a top lane, where the Renekton had already won that trade.
Such a weird situation. He didn't have the best game number 2, but we're going to have to hold that for because we're now seeing a fight take place bottom side as Raze being jumped on. That's going to be the teleport coming in here from Tapoon. He finds a kill, he buys an item, he comes back in, he wants damage. He flashes all through for the empowered stun. He wants them all right now. He's so angered from game number 2. He said, you made me 0-4, you made me look like a laughing stock, but I'm going to play Renekton. I'm going to put you in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we've made Tapoon mad here, Skimmy. He's got a vendetta. He's definitely proven a point here. Massive performance coming out of him, and a good early teleport as well to make sure he's able to get those kills. You look at top lane and say, what has been missed? Well, not a lot. Babip's already in top lane. He's been able to catch a majority of the minions that had crashed here as well, so experience still being shared between a lot of the members of Legacy overall. Still very much in the driver's seat, and we never saw that spear. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Certainly didn't. The camera panned away down to mid lane, where Tally, despite having the fleet footwork, has run out consumables, and Harry is bullying him out of this lane. He'll be matched in CS, but now going to be able to crash that all on in. Whether or not Babip can get there in time to catch that, looking like it will be the case. But he can just teleport back to lane. So nothing lost in this trade.
Yeah, Tally with his first reset of the game actually able to buy the full catalyst here, so how mid lane has been going so far doesn't matter too much anymore. Harry did have a decent amount of control, and as you would have been able to note from just looking at that laning phase, pretty much always had the Kassadin pushed in, or Tally just having to deal with the blows that Harry was throwing at him, and it helped get a couple of deep wards. It really didn't mean anything too much after that point, however. His Order will thankfully be able to pick themselves up the Drake, as a result of the teleports and resets being quite late there from Legacy as they took that fight in bot lane. So nice little objective take for them, but still, an issue remains.
It does, and this is one of the weaknesses of the Maokai, is you have very expensive mana costs, not going to have the most desirable trades right there, and definitely not going to have too much fun going into Renekton. Has opted for the Aftershock, so much more geared towards success and tankiness when those team fights come around, but he's going to feel the pain, especially during this laning phase here.
100%. However, we've had pretty much even lane states overall besides that top lane difference. Another Hex Flash and attempted hook, but there is a spell shit. Oh, he hits it.
Yep, the attempted hook does connect, but there's the binding to turn things around. Raze is low. He pops the ignite. Is forced to be pushed on back to the safety of that turret. As Lilia was in the area, they were looking to try and take him down to find aggression. Thankfully for him, Raze survives.
I mean, that's huge, though. That's the one job that the Morgana has against Nautilus in a laning phase, is don't let a hook connect. Unfortunately, expects the hook to be going towards him, preempts the spell shield, and it goes straight onto Raze. And once again, very little HP remains to him, so complete lane control given over to the bot lane of Order. Top lane, as you can see, topping with about 7 million minions, will get all of his health back with a single Q and baits Swiper into using that ultimate. Very unfortunate there for the top laner of Order, but still their bottom lane in control.
It certainly is, and at Nature's Grasp now offers up an opportunity for Babbitt to come around in the area. He's got red buffs, so they've definitely got the lockdown potential. He doesn't have a flash as well, so he's very susceptible to this dive. There's the stun, there's the damage to connect, smited, and taken on down. They've returned to the top lane, and the weak side top laner gets punished again.
Yeah, 7 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock here as well, so unfortunately they're not going to be able to go straight to the Rift Herald, but that does mean that they retain their top side control until such a point. Looking at the way Order are going to play this one out, they have forged advantages through their bot lane. You'll see they'll be able to start breaking plates. They'll push away Legacy in the 2v2. They're engaging again, though.
We're looking for the kill onto Raze once more. The shield negates the hook attempt, but I'll still cops a beating. 4v2, they dive, they flash out of the Emperor's Divine. Now both of them get put to sleep, but stunned underneath the turret. The gank goes sideways, and what was looking like Order in a 4v2 situation, they lose members in their attempt.
4 members of Order come down. They full commit. They bait out the spell shield. And they lose the trade. Meanwhile, top lane gets a free reset off, and that was without teleport available. Meanwhile, Cassidy at level 7 has been scaling up and gets some free farm and is gifted a blue buff. That was the play that Order needed to win if they were going to hard commit themselves to it. And now it's up to 3,000 gold almost in favor of Legacy in this play. That is so tragic for Order, but incredible from the side of Legacy that they're able to make that work at all.
That was like synchronized swimming there, Rusty. They were on the exact same page. As soon as they saw that play was about to happen, they flashed together, they hit the binding, and they punished with conviction. A huge outplay, another big opportunity for these two to prove themselves as to why they have been so consistent all year long. And that they have their eyes on the prize. They'll continue to need those standout performances because it looks like Oni continues to visit that part of the map. So it keeps offering up opportunities here for Babbitt to say, well, if you can go down bot side, I'll keep targeting top side. I'll take out Swiper for a second time in a row, and I'll just pick up the objectives here as well.
And as there is a clock on our screen, the one thing that you have to note with this Rift Herald that'll be taken is you could very easily rinse and repeat the strategy from game number 1, Skimmy, and that is to clear top lanes out of turret and just look to open up the croc onto the map and just have an obnoxiously fed top moon running rampant on Summoner's Rift. Right now, we'll be getting closer towards his Blade of the Ruin King item spike. Swiper very much behind in experience and items. Break that side of the map open, and you'll find this game becomes a lot easier to play. The one difference between that first and third game is it's not going to be a Ziggs in mid lane. It's not going to be something that easily breaks structures. But extending the length of that lane could be advantageous for being able to chase people down with a Nidalee and a Kassadin if they start getting active.
We'll be interested to see where that happens and at what point of the game right now, because Tapoon knows how strong he is. Absolutely. He's got the Cutlass, he's got the Merc Treads. He can do so much work in this one. I'm going to zone away so much CS as a result. You can already see that Lee starting to grow up by 20. But this will be his 5th game as the Renekton. And from the 4 played so far, he has not lost a single game when he has been given a chance to play the Renekton.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, we're going to have to start talking about the Renekton pick in general. The fact that he's able to blind pick it and successfully win every single game.
Yeah.
A credit to the player, of course. But at the same time, he's being given these matchups where he's going to have a good time with it. You know, Swiper does play the Renekton himself, and I do think that's a big part of why the priority is there. for Legacy, not only to take it away from Swiper as it's one of his few carry champions. Well, hang on.
Yeah, Tally goes in there with the Rift Walk, but now going to get punished big time. There's the Emperor's Fire looking to try and take both members down, but they get them low. But Tally, obviously with the mobility built into his kit, can evade it, won't be lethal, and receives the heal from the roaming Nidalee.
Yeah, tanky boy at the moment is the old Cassidy. Nice play, though, from Hayri. Unfortunately for him, however... Oh. Whoa. Unnecessary.
He's just sniffing for trouble in the wrong neighborhood there, because now they're going to get punished big time. There's the spear, there's the damage, and here comes the Curtain's call. Run as far as you can, because there's the spear and there's the bullet, but just evades the AoE cone.
Now the Drake's most likely going to belong to Legacy here. Of course, you've seen the teleport from Topoon used, a major deterrent there. Swiper not going to be coming into the mix, is just going to push that top wave in and make the minions crash. Legacy getting the objective, continuing to scale into this game. One of the hardest breakpoints of this game has been just going for a Boots of Swiftness Jhin into what is now a BF Sword and a Vamp Scepter for the Caitlyn. That's almost impossible to play League around, but they did it. They navigated a 2v4, and they'll be getting closer to item spikes in their own right. Getting Drakes with them still not having reset as well. As kudos to Legacy overall, as they've managed to bridge that weakness, and they should be getting closer to a point of power now.
Interesting to see when they find it, where they find it, and what it looks like right now, because the top half of this Legacy draft so far are incredibly strong. 2 kills to the 2 of them. They got themselves a Rift Herald as well to utilize. Question is, what part of the map will they go for right now? That's going to be the exchange. This time, Teddy having to commit with the flash to disengage away. Here comes Zoni. He's going to sidestep that bowling ball. Rift Walk makes light work of it. As both mid laners nearly finding a solo kill onto one another.
The top lane turret is absolutely dead to rights. They'll be able to clear the wave behind it as the turret falls. First turret, 13 minutes on the clock there as well, so before the turret plates go down, and you've already seen the potential of Tally in mid lane just before that. Starting to really claw back this laning phase and win those trades. Isn't even level 11 yet, so just a single point in his ultimate. And the influence that he's having is starting to draw the Lilia nearby. There's Hex Flash in.
Hex Flash in, connects with Morgana, good spell shield. There's the dredge line, well there's the knock up to follow. Flashes away, gets put to sleep, Lullaby is there, only going to jump on in! He's going to pay the ultimate price and fall on down. The kill's picked up by Morgana. But it is Rare that takes down the Jhin. Here comes Verve now, looking for retaliation. Max range spear gets sidestepped out of as the Caliber net is good. And this time the gank in bot lane is successful for Order.
I'll tell you what, when Isles is on, he is on. So yes, the gank is successful and they do manage to take down Raze. Has the teleport, however, and will just be able to bring himself back to bottom lane if that was even a priority for them. As it stands, however, that was just the kill, was just the trade. And Aya was able to clutch out as well to make sure that there was a trade in the first place, hitting that flash binding. I mean, this is still a dangerous position for Order to be in, but, and we mentioned this in the second game as well, the one major advantage that they have in this game compared to that first one where Legacy won is that their bottom lane is overall quite even, if not ahead for Rare specifically. And they need that. They need him to be in a position of power if they want any chance to take down Legacy.
They certainly do. We've seen that he has been sub-influential, even when the game's been against him. What he can represent, we know that he likes to be crazy at times. We know that he likes to seek out those montage plays. A lot of that was refined from Split 1 coming into Split 2, but sometimes you need to tap into those moments of madness to find big moments of real miracles, really, more than anything. Situations when you're up against it, the goal lead continues to favor Legacy right now as they hit that 15-minute mark. They're fast approaching 5k gold lead.
Also, lane assignments is something that will really potentially be the undoing of Order, let's say, as well. The Cassidy being able to plant his feet in side lanes, the threat of a 1-3-1 that exists here for Legacy is fantastic, honestly. Looking for engage tools if you were Order, having to deal with a Morgana spell shield. If the 3 people in mid lane are actually set up properly, then that makes things difficult. And in that nightmare situation, you have an Azir stuck in a side lane against a Cassidy, exactly where he doesn't want to be. And that means that the win conditions become more difficult for Order. So you're looking at these objective-based fights. Opportunities for Hayri to be able to get around the rift are very important. So you don't want to just keep these two down in bot lane forever.
Certainly don't. And it's only continuing to hunt out trouble, continuing to search for members to pick apart. predominantly around this bottom half of the map right now. A Dragon to play for in a minute, and Ocean Soul is up for grabs. We've seen both teams love to go for these siege setups. That'll offer them so much security to ensure it is a fight that'll work their way. That's going to be the Herald for the second time now being picked up here by Babip. Interesting to see what lane he decides to go around with. If he looks to try and attribute all this to the side lanes to make sure that Tapoon continues bullying at the side lane.
Yeah, and like mentioned before as well, right? Like you could actually, instead of placing it mid lane if you wanted to, place it in bot lane and break that bot lane outer turret. Extend the lane to make it even more difficult to be Hayri sitting in that side lane. That's a win condition for a Kassadin by itself. Now, the standard, right? The prototypical Herald usage would be to place it in mid lane, break that turret, and just make map control in general much more of a challenge for the side of Order, especially if you're playing for objectives like the Drake. But realistically, if I was looking at this, I would want to make Hayri's life miserable. I would want to really push him and put him under the pump, right? If the Azir can't play League of Legends, if the Azir feels unsafe on an extra 4 out of his next 10 waves because there's no turret to protect him, then suddenly you're getting more money in your carries that they aren't. They're having to group more often, and they can't kill you as 3. So if they're grouping, they may just be wasting their time.
Well, they're not able to group at this stage of the game here, Rusty. 17 minutes in. Here is a jungle kingdom found here for Babip. From Herald to Dragon, they're giving themselves so many opportunities to play for these important buffs to achieve not only map control, but team fight success. That's going to continue to build the gold lead in their favor, which has stabilized a little bit from what was creeping up to become 5k down to just 4. Not enough to justify any major leads, because you'd say that the majority of this gold lead is only found in 2 particular roles between jungle and top lane.
Yeah, and looking what both of those two can do, however, in tandem is still pretty dangerous. You know, it is the Blade of the Ruined King build. Once we have the Black Cleaver online, Toppin will be very successfully able to start those team fights as well and have a serious influence on the map. Nidalee being 2-0. Looks like going towards the Athene's Unholy Grail as well does provide a whole lot of healing for the team. And the sooner you get that item spike, the better. So these leads may not be game winning, but they make the ease of access for Legacy when it comes to objective fights and just really grouping up and even sieging so much easier.
Let's see what happens when it comes to talking of sieging. Only 1 turret's been taken down so far. That has gone the way of Legacy as it stands. Teams have been evenly matched when it's come to responding to any pressure that has been found in these side lanes so far on. The Herald is still there in inventory, and the Battle has just gone back for a shop. He's actually not gone for the Fiends anytime soon. No, his second item will now be the completed Zonia. He's going to give himself a little bit of extra tankiness into a lot of the 80 damage coming out of Order, but also protecting that bounty on his head as well.
Yeah, increases the dive threat. So you're right, it's a great thing to protect the bounty that he has. Reducing an extra 150 gold into the hands of Order would be nice, but it also means that he can go forward with the Kassadin. It means that there are opportunities to dive. As nice spell shield from Isles there to save Raze. I feel like this Herald is going to time out pretty soon. Topoon.
They're going for Tapoon. He gets put to sleep, but he doesn't care. He just continues to kill you in his dreams. That is called a nightmare right there. And now Swiper is forced to run away as well, as he is disengaging from what is a very scary crocodile.
Yeah, not quite the lilting lullaby that you'd be after if you were only in this case. Topoon's an absolute monster. At what point do we just stop going near him? Right? Is that even a fight that you want to take? It's very evident that the answer is no, because that was with a Caitlyn ultimate as well thrown into him. And he comes out on top and prospers. This Herald we just spoke about maybe was about to time out. But because Topoon, of his own accord, is able to put in so much work, it's going to be a free turret. Bot lane outer breaks. It doesn't even take any damage on the charge on that turret. Once Geraldine wakes up and says, oh, that's right, the turret's not there, you're going to have a full health charge onto this inhibit turret as well. Crazy, crazy stuff here going the way of Legacy that maybe Order shouldn't have wanted.
Yeah, slim margins to say the least right now, as the redemption came on through from Isles to keep him topped up just a little bit necessary, as it was a collapse against him, you know, quite honestly a 3v1 to start off there. But that has opened up that condition as you wanted to see in that side lane to make it easier for either the Renekton or the Kassadin to now target. They've opened up themselves a very real possibility of taking down an inhibitor, and that could blow this game wide open, as we know what these teams like to do, especially Legacy like to try and utilize their teleport advantages to good effect, bait you out to say, well, if you want to go for a Baron, if you want to go for a Dragon, this is what we can do instead. They will have a slight advantage when it comes to that macro, is they have 3 teleports to their opponent's 2.
Rare needs to be respectful here. Binding just missing, and of course so is the Jin W there. So Rare, nice fancy feat to keep himself in the mix in this one, and not like that game number 1 where he just instantly gets eviscerated. He's still going to be perfectly fine here. You know, one thing that I've started to really think about, Skibby, is why does Topoon look so much better? Why is Isles playing so much better as well in the games where Tally's playing? Like, it's a weird common denominator, right? Is that my mid laner is here. Very different champions as well between each game. And it feels like Legacy changed their priorities to nurture Halo a little bit more. Whereas when Tally is playing, he's such a self-sufficient and experienced player that it seems like Babip's able to give more time and attention to other things. And that really does feel like perhaps that difference maker.
It's a very good question, right? You know, you can talk about champion pools, you can talk about what they're after and what they need to unlock their potential. Perhaps there's more to it, right? You know, their shot calling capacity, their ability to keep mental high. And right now, Legacy will be on a big high, as that Herald, only moments prior, will mean that Topoon can just like that walk into your base, uncontested, and say, yeah, thanks for the inhibitor.
Someone's got to come and deal with him eventually. Looks like Hayri's going to be the willing victim. Maybe unwilling, but Topoon's not going to take the fight just yet. The rest of Order still a little bit missing. They'll show on this mid wave now, however. Topoon with the opportunity to group without having the teleport does mean that he'll be able to threaten this mid lane outer turret as well. We'll see if they go straight to the Drake.
The full 5v5 will take place here now. Raze always gone for the curtain call. Max Strange going to get knocked up, only zoned away. That's a jungler they cannot smite. Tally's going to chase him, Tally's going to look. But he gets dropped down to 50% as well, and that's now going to be an ultimate coming his way. But Babbitt will soak it up, can heal himself up, can top it up, and laugh at it.
Oh no.
Mr. Poon, well, whilst the rest of the team fight on one front in the jungle, he'll rumble in the river. And now it's an exchange of, well, who can fall on down? They are juggling with these health bars. They are flirting with danger. And because it's an ocean map, there is tons of fruit to eat up.
Babib's on the wrong side of the map here just quietly, but he's really hitting those spears. Teleport's going to come in, and it's Tally as well in this Cassid, and the re-engage is on.
There it is. That's going to be one stun. That's going to be a key target taken out of this fight straight away. Their tank, their frontliner, their bruiser in the Maokai. He's gone. And their jungler is very low. There is no chance for a contest here today. That'll be the third dragon going the way of Legacy, and that is now putting themselves on an Ocean Soul point.
And this is terrifying. Giving an Ocean Soul over in general is pretty sucky. You don't want to have to do that one. Giving an Ocean Soul over to a Renekton that is 3-0-3, to a Cassidon, no less as well, that is just now scaling up into this game and getting close to that maximum power. That's the last thing you want to do. And so for Order, a 7,000 gold difference, yes, but you've got 4 minutes and 50 seconds left of League of Legends to play. To do as much as you can in that time before you have no choice, and you have to contest that Drake, or it'll just be your undoing if you don't.
Certainly do. And their opportunities, their chances to try and come back into this one are falling lower and lower because the gold lead continues to build against them, as you've already highlighted. Their opportunity to say, well, if we group up to try and force a fight, if we try and do a dance of some sort, our base is exposed. They could just look to end the game on their own and bully us out with those teleports. They committed two to make themselves win out that dragon fight, but it is worth noting that both AD carries were able to hold on to their flashes.
Yeah, true. Definitely needed, especially against someone like a Nautilus, if you're going to be looking to Morgana Spell Shield, someone like Topoon, who's constantly frontlining now. 2 items completed for the Jhin as well, while we're talking about the AD carries. Not quite there yet for Rare. He does seem to have this obsession with going for a Vampiric Scepter before completing his major item spikes. And I can't tell you the exact reasoning for that one, but having a single Vamp Scepter is quite efficient at the very least. That Topoon is going to make short work of Swiper anytime they go up against one another. Death's Dance. If he gets that item spike before the Drake spawns, I mean, Topoon's literally unkillable.
He certainly will be. He's a scary member of this roster so far to try and deal with. But what is worth noting is despite it being down 7k, there is a bounty on every single member of this Legacy lineup right now. So there is potential, you'd have to say, that if they can win out a fight, the gold lead would stabilize a fair bit. They would be able to achieve a fair few items to get themselves back into this one. But as chat will always remind us, look at the clock and it says that's a Caston at level 15, and we know what can happen when 16 comes around.
Yeah, only 1 year left of experience for the Cassidon to be online. We're not aiming at 200 in this game, just 16. Topoon now going to smack the turret. Actually, just going to dive Swiper.
Yeah, he just does two things at once right now. They take the turret, the redemption comes on down, but no redemption is afforded to Swiper right now as he's low. There's a flash, there's a stash, and there's a damage dealer who says you can't run out of this one. Sidestep left, sidestep right. You need dancing lessons because you haven't got those shoes on here today. You can push me away, but there's another threat on your front door coming around here. Everybody burning summoners because they do not want to fall on down at such critical times, Rusty. When the respawn timers are looking at 30 seconds and onwards, it's getting scary when you know that Baron is there for the taking.
And if we want to talk about summoner spells that are now available, no flash for the AD carry or mid laner of Order, and Legacy are just going to go straight to this Baron. Teleports are coming in from Swiper. This seems to be the do or die moment. Legacy can just disengage if they want to, but Topoon on the flank, they're probably going to look.
Topoon is on the flank, as you say right now. He's used that flash, but he can't disengage to come back into this one. They're going to all get put to sleep right now. The Lob Eye's there. Taliyah's low. He's disengaged away. He's buying himself some time. Raze is low. He's going to get flashed on Swiper, trying to do one more auto attack. There's the summoner heal. That's just enough. And now they survive. They fully commit. They drive themselves into a choke spot. But eventually they run out of steam, and Topoon runs into the fight at the perfect time. He secures himself a double kill. Legacy with superior kiting.
Legacy just tear them apart. Topoon just straight through the ranks of Order, makes it impossible for them to realistically front to back. And the dive from Tally to start that off, 0 HP left to his name, but just able to disengage and so mobile, even at level 15. But guess what, everyone? With that Baron take, he crests over the 16 level mark there as well. And talk about going from bad to worse. Legacy absolutely put their marks down on this game. Tally gets the Q off just as he falls asleep, and that keeps him alive. Raze gets the heal, I believe, from Nidalee here for 460, and Swiper just kited. While Isles and Topoon putting in work elsewhere. This is exactly what we spoke about just before, Skimmy. You have summoner spells available for your carries, you'll be able to navigate the team fight, while Isles works with Topoon.
What did it feel like there? That was the fight. If there was ever a fight to try and bring yourself back into the game, there were so many shutdowns. Just look at how much money is there as an asset ready to be unleashed. And well, as a result of that now, the gold lead balloons from what was a 7k to now 12. It's huge!
Okay.
And, well, that just means things like that can happen.
That is a perfect representation of the game state right now, with a 13,000 gold difference between these teams. Order are going to look to try and push this wave out and just get the wave in as best they can before the Drake spawns, but look at the flank.
Oh, Topoon's here saying, you can't run this way. Where do you want to go? You got to fight us head on right now, and I don't think they can do it. They're going to fall on down one by one, a fight on multiple fronts. You're running to the Baron, but the Baron's already gone because we've got it. We're using it, and we're taking you down. There's a triple kill. One member remains. It's Ayla, but you can't run away from death when it chases you just like this. Kassadin, Castle win.
And that's going to be game here, Skimmy, as well. 2-1 on the scoreboard in favor of Legacy. All that's left is to use the minions they prepared earlier in this bottom lane, run down the lane. And a successful teamfight victory, and most likely a death for Rare here as well, will be all she wrote for the side of Order in this game.
That most certainly will be here. That's going to be them padding their KDA, just taking you down, demoralizing you, letting you know that we are now on match point. The next starts to fall on down. An absolute shellacking here. A perfect game, you'd have to say. 19 kills to 1. Legacy looking to go the full way.
When ending the game with a 16,000 gold difference here is just full credit to Legacy for the way they were able to play this one out. And if there was one thing that I take away from this game, there's a few things, but if there was one thing that I take away from it, it's don't make Topoon mad. My god, he's insane when he's looking for those kills. And a kill-hungry Topoon just influenced the whole map.
Certainly did. Once again, is now an undefeated Topoon as the next in 5 games, 100% win rate, and he showed that he has the fancy feat to make it that it is not only an early game champion, it can do a lot of work come the late game as well. As we jump to the break, it is Legacy 2, Order 1.
Target inside.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.